So about 8 hours later, the doctor come up and informed us that surgery went okay. Grant had lost some blood, but they had gotten most of the tumor out, and that he was pretty sure it was cancer, and he was pretty sure it was medulloblastoma, but he was sending it off to St. Jude's.
This week on The Fowl Life.
Broken planks of an old wood porch leading up to a torn screen door. Neighbors passing in a pickup truck loaded down with tomatoes and sweet field corn. Honeysuckle vines smelling so sweet. It smells like home and it comforts me. I hear a sweet voice say, come on in, honey, come on in. So good to see how you've been, and I'm home again, home again. Bible by her chair, flowers from the grove, fresh baked bread on a worn-out stove. Pictures of the family fill the room with love, and old Conway Twitty playing on a radio. I dance and sing just to see her smile. Supper's cooking, honey, would you stay a while? Memories come alive as I'm welcomed in, home again.
Chad Belding,
Mitch Petrie, what's happening?
watching The Fowl Life. Holy cow.
You're a lucky man.
This, Chad, is it's a tough episode to watch.
Yep.
It's an important episode to watch for those of us who have kids. What an episode, man.
Yeah, it'll get you. Every time I watch it, it gets me, and I think that I think it's one of those things that you're sitting at your house on a Wednesday night watching Wheel of Fortune and commercials come on. You see that St. Jude's commercial, and a lot of people might just not even think twice about it and get up and make a snack, or they might even fast forward it if it's on a DVR type situation. And getting invited down there to work with the Ronald McDonald House and the St. Jude Hospital and meeting the families, the moms, the dads, the grandparents, the staff at both St. Jude's and the Ronald McDonald House, it really opened my eyes to that this is happening. It's real life, and we go through our lives every day, and the hustle and bustle and the social media and the instant messaging and the texting, and everybody's in a hurry, and it's been talked about for years. You got to pump the brakes and slow down a little bit. But if you really want to be humbled and have a true understanding of how blessed we are to be healthy, to have our health, to have healthy kids that are safe and secure, and when you see what these kids went through and what their moms went through, it just makes you count your lucky stars. And I've had that feeling a lot with military and our returning veterans, but seeing a 7-year-old kid named Corey, who was in that little segment you just played, she's from the Chicago area, 7 years old, 2 brain surgeries, loses 100% of her motor skills. And when I met her, you would have thought she was just opening Christmas presents. She was so happy and so resilient. I thought I was going to walk into there and just get totally sad and depressed, crying. And these kids just opened my eyes of like, there's really no such thing as a bad day. And that's easy to say because I understand that there is loneliness, there is depression, there are tough times. But if you sit down and think about what you do have and the people around you and your close, your immediate family, your extended family, your friends, your network, and how blessed we are to have that, it's really easy to see how important it is to not hold grudges and not be, not give somebody the silent treatment. Don't let a fight last too long. Don't be afraid to tell somebody you love them. You know what I mean?
Chad, I've known you for many years. You're not one to pump the brakes, and I think you just demonstrated that.
Yeah.
when you pulled this episode together, I think you sent it to us and said, this is an important episode. And we agree. I'm really happy that you've shared it with us and you shared it with your fans. And why don't you tell us a little bit? Let's pump the brakes, take a half step back, and tell us what you got going on this week with the Fowl Life.
I was approached by a guy named John Gordon, who's the chairman of the board for the Ronald McDonald House in Memphis, Tennessee, which is about a mile from the St. Jude's Hospital that Danny Thomas founded. He placed it in Memphis because of the Mississippi River corridor, and there was a lot of families that were in need financially in that area. So that's where he placed it. The Ronald McDonald House, if you study their story and dissect it, it came about from an NFL football player whose daughter got sick, but he had the means to pay for her hospital visits and her treatments. And then he started thinking, well, what if a family can't pay for this stuff? So he started a house to where these families that come in to get treatment, they don't have a pavement. He took care of their utilities and their food, and the Ronald McDonald got involved. And that's how the Ronald McDonald became the title sponsor of these houses. And now they're the Ronald McDonald Houses and Charities. And from the point the family gets there to when their kid gets done with chemo or radiation or whatever disease the kid is fighting, the Ronald McDonald's charity pay for that. So we went into Memphis to this event called Clays for Kids that's put on by a bunch of hunters and conservationists and sportsmen. And it takes place in Memphis, Tennessee, and it's a sporting clays event. And 100% of the proceeds go to the Ronald McDonald House of Memphis. There's Ronald McDonald Houses all over the country. This money went to the Memphis location, and it covers 100% of $150,000 to $175,000 utility bill for the year for that house. So the money that these sportsmen and the heart of a hunter is really exemplified in this, that they're taking time out of their work, their lives, their jobs, and they're going out and spending money at the silent auction, the banquet. They get 4 and 8 man teams in this sporting clay event. And then you go into this house and you see what it benefits. The pantries are full. They have brand new linens and towels because they can't take used toys, Mitch. They can't take used blankets. They can't take a chance of any bacteria or anything being on anything. So it's got to be brand new stuff. So that money goes and pays for the utility bill, freeing up these guys to go out and put their energy into raising other monies to cover the other expenses that the house faces. So when we got there, that's when everything opened up, because that's when you got to meet the kids and the moms, like you saw the mom in the podcast there at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And it went from there.
The mom at the very beginning, Michelle Walters, now she's from Louisiana, and her child, she tells a story in the episode about her child's diagnosis of, I think it was medulloblastoma, some sort of childhood cancer. And, but you had the opportunity to take Michelle and her son Grant on a hunt in Oklahoma. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was Michelle and Grant and his sister Alyssa and their dad and his dad. All 4 of them came, and I had heard, hey, if this family goes, it's a family deal. It's not just going to be a father and son deal. And Grant was 7 years old at the time of his diagnosis, had a headache behind his eye, and turned into them thinking it was a head cold. Went home from school, couldn't open his eye the next morning, and they went to the optometrist, and he says, you need to get to the hospital now. So they went to the ER, CAT scan. 2 brain surgeries, 33 rounds of chemo, 9 rounds of radiation, lost 100% of his motor skills. And keep in mind, Grant was the starting center on his Pop Warner football team at 7 years old. That's how normal this kid was. He was an athlete, trick-or-treating, everything that you could think of a kid doing. And now they're faced with this deal. So we got to go get with Flatline Outfitters around Oklahoma City, and they came out for 3 days of peanut field hunting and wheat field hunting and water hunting for ducks and geese. Blue Moore and Trey Miller over at Flatland opened their arms and opened the doors to Ronald McDonald House in St. Jude's. And it was just hard to watch that a kid could struggle that bad. He has a hard time putting food in his mouth again. He's learning to speak again at 12 years old now. He's 5 years cancer-free. They call it 5 years disease-free because they can't ever say he's in remission. And to put it into perspective, Mitch, me and you, or you and I, probably have to start getting checked for things like prostate cancer and such when we get into our, late 40s, early 50s. He has to start at 19 years old because of what he went through and the trauma he went through with his first bout with brain cancer. So to see that he was out there in the duck blind, and we had all of our partners pitch in, Realtree and Bandit and Benelli and Federal and a lot of guys that in the industry, they welcomed this family with open arms. And He got to raise up and point the gun and squeeze the trigger at some ducks. His sister Alyssa did. His mom got to do the podcast. And the thing that got to me the worst was when I talked to his dad and his mom in the blind with Grant there hunting. His dad literally was the weak one, and his mom was the man of the family. And I mean that in the nicest way. And he admitted it because he literally lost it when he saw his son getting to do that because of that father-son bond. He was so happy that his son was actually in the duck blind hunting and blowing duck calls, and he was singing songs, and we were doing it all. Like, you know, the camaraderie that takes place in a duck blind, and to have little 12-year-old Grant get to experience that after 5 years of a living hell, pretty much, it was so satisfying to my heart.
Where's your heart? Where's your mind? Material things you gotta leave behind. Here's a little something in case you
Kill 'em, boys.
know you can't buy love with silver.
Nice shot. That's beautiful. Just hovering in the air. How about that, huh?
Love with silver or gold. No. So if you got a roof up over your head, belly full of food and a nice home, you are blessed, I know, indeed. It ain't what you want.
Nice shot, Alyssa.
Hey, ducks up, front right, coming in.
I'd rather be pulling it off in a hole.
Kill him.
Life on earth won't last.
Man.
Awesome.
That's the rain out, baby. Hunt blue. Hunt stamps.
Good job, fellas.
We're all equal, that's what I
Grant. Get him, Grant. Get him, Grant.
say. Life on earth won't last that long.
Boy, that's pretty right there. Look at that tree.
Oh, that is
When them hunters all gone.
Oh, dang it. Unload them, boys and girls. It's a great time. Ronald McDonald House, St. Jude's Children's Research Facility, Memphis, Tennessee. Everything that Danny Thomas did with his vision, how he executed it, how he got everybody motivated around him to accomplish it. The survival rate of these kids and the diseases and cancer and brain cancer, like what Grant fought, two brain surgeries, or you heard his mom talk about it, 33 radiation treatments, and then chemotherapy, and losing his motor skills. And he's still in a duck blind in Oklahoma with us in Flatline, calling it geese, calling it ducks. Lucky enough to harvest a few. Friendship made, and I'm excited about it.
Chad, I want to talk more about it, but the reality is it's something our viewers have to see to experience. So really what I think we should do is, make sure folks understand this episode is airing Saturday, 8:30 a.m. on the 28th of December. Again, on Sunday on the 29th of December at 1 p.m. There's a couple earlier episodes as well, a couple early airings, Monday at 10 a.m. on the 23rd, Wednesday at 12:30 a.m. for those night owls on the 25th. So this Christmas holiday, can you imagine a better way to celebrate our lifestyle and helping families in need? It is such a humbling and amazing episode, Chad. We really appreciate you taking your time and effort to go and volunteer at the hospital and take this family out. It's a very special episode.
Yeah, it really is. And when you see it, you'll see people like Milena McGee and John Gordon who really made it happen. And I'll let you go with this, Mitch, is that all they asked us to do was come in and donate to the shooting event and to try to help get some more hunting and industry partners involved in the clays for kids. And when I got on my first conference call and heard Milena McGee and John Gordon talking with the other board members at the Ronald McDonald House, I literally sat there and went, wait, this is bigger than a donation. And that's when we said, let's tell a story. And then it just kept getting bigger. So here's something you'll appreciate. Zach Brown is going to be playing in the Chicago. I'm not going to let it out of the bag. It might already be out of the bag, but he's going to be playing in the Illinois area this coming summer 2020. And he's going to bring Corey and her mom. You haven't met Corey's not on the show that much, but you do meet her mom, Jenny, and Corey in an interview in that episode. And Corey's a little girl from the Chicago, Illinois area. And we're going to bring her favorite band is Zach Brown. Her mom's favorite band is the Zach Brown Band. And Zach's going to bring them in and let them experience the Zach Brown Band live in concert in 2020. So just our entire network embraced this. and it's what the hunting community does time in and time again. And it's awesome. It rocked my world to see it. I have a 9-year-old daughter. You have kids, Mitch, and it could happen to anybody. That's what we have to keep in mind. It's happening to people next door, and it could happen in our living room. So it was an eye opener for me. So this holiday season, Christmas 2019, New Year's 2020, maybe get involved. Go visit at Ronald McDonald House. Bring a couple brand new blankets or pillows or something, and just support them, because they're really taking care of families that are struggling in need right now.
Yeah. Chad, again, thank you so much for bringing this to our network, for raising awareness for St. Jude's and for Ronald McDonald House. Tune in again the week of Christmas here. Everybody have a happy holiday. Chad, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to another amazing season of the Fowl Life in 2020. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Mitch. Appreciate you.
Broken planks of an old wood porch leading up to a torn screen door. Neighbors passing in a pickup truck loaded down with tomatoes and sweet field corn. Honeysuckle vines smelling so